She was 15 years old. She went to the Maldives on a school trip, a compulsory trip built into the curriculum of her school in Singapore, an adventure, an achievement program, a chance to contribute to real marine science, to swim in the Indian Ocean, to see whale sharks up close. On the morning of November 8th, 2024, the students went out on a boat. The plan was to swim with dolphins. The boat stopped. The water was calm. The students lined up to get into the water. Jenna Chan was among them. She never came home. And the people who were supposed to protect her, the school, the charity, the boat crew, the authorities, have spent the months since then doing something that her father cannot forgive. They have been silent. Her name was Jenna Ari Chan. She was a student at St. Joseph Institution International in Singapore. She was described by everyone who knew her as sunshine, as the warmest, smiliest person, as the girl who held her family together. She wanted to be a geriatrician when she grew up because she loved old people. She was her sister Alicia's soulmate. She was 15 years old, and she followed the instructions she was given, and she got into the water, and the boat propeller took her. This is the story of what happened, what has not been answered, and why a family is still fighting more than a year later for the truth about how their daughter died in paradise. Now, to understand why this story matters beyond the tragedy itself, you need to understand who Jenna was and why she was in the Maldives in the first place. Jenna Chan was a 9th grade student at St. Joseph's Institution International, a private school in Singapore that caters to an international student body. Her parents, Alan Chan and Jennifer Liao, are both professionals. Her father is a businessman. Her mother is a surgeon. They are people who ask questions. They are people who expect answers. Jenna was British Singaporean. She had a life ahead of her that was full of specific plans. She wanted to go into medicine. She wanted to specialize in geriatrics, the care of the elderly, because she had a particular tenderness for old people. Her family recalls her as someone who was warm and giving in a way that was not performance. It was just who she was. She was also adventurous. She was not afraid of the ocean. She was not afraid of a school expedition to a foreign country. She had done trips like this before. Her school had sent students to the Maldives the previous year for deep-sea snorkeling and resilience lessons. This kind of outdoor education was a core part of SJII's curriculum. The school described it as important for students' overall development. The trip Jenna was on in November of 2024 was connected to the National Youth Achievement Award, the Singaporean equivalent of the Duke of Edinburgh Award in the United Kingdom. Students earn this award through challenges, skills, physical activity, and service. The overseas expedition component was part of the compulsory requirements. The trip was organized in collaboration with a British-registered charity called the Maldives Whale Shark Research Program, known as the MWSRP. The charity conducts scientific research on whale sharks in the Maldives and accepts participants, including student groups, who contribute to their data collection while experiencing the marine environment. The school's principal was leading the trip himself. It was, from the outside, a well-organized educational expedition run by an established institution in partnership with a registered charity in one of the most visited tourist destinations in the world from the outside. November 8th, 2024, morning. The students are on a boat in the waters of South Ari Atoll, known as Alifu Dalu Atoll in the central Maldives. They are in the channel between Lux Maldives Resort and the nearby island of Didu. The water in this part of the Maldives is the kind of blue that people travel 10 hours to see. Clear, warm, beautiful. The plan is to swim with dolphins. The boat stops. The engine has stopped or slowed. The water around the boat is calm. This is the signal. The students line up to enter the water. According to what the family later pieced together from CT scans, from fragments of witness accounts that were shared with them, not officially, but through persistence and determination, here is what appears to have happened. A female teacher entered the water first. Then another student. Then the boat began to move. The movement of the boat, whether it reversed, whether it shifted position, whether the propeller engaged before everyone was clear, is one of the central unanswered questions of the investigation. What is not in question is what the propeller did to Jenna Chan. She was struck. The CT scans that her father Alan obtained, not from the Maldivian authorities, not from the school, but through his own determination and contacts in the medical field, showed the full extent of what had happened to his daughter. He described it to reporters later. Her pelvis had been smashed. Her legs were twisted. Her guts were out. Another teacher, a man, dove into the water to retrieve Jenna's body. When he climbed back to the surface with her, struggling to get onto the boat crew watched. They did not help him. The children, Jenna's classmates, teenagers, 15-year-old students who would come to the Maldives to swim with dolphins, helped him get the body on board. They were, as Alan Chan described it, traumatized. Quite traumatized. Jenna was pronounced dead on arrival at the nearby Digura Health Center. She was 15 years old. And the school had a no phones policy for the trip. Her parents, in Singapore, in a different time zone, not knowing any of this was happening, could not reach their daughter. They had not been able to contact her throughout the trip because the school had imposed a no phones rule. So, Jenna died in the Indian Ocean on the morning of November 8th, and her parents did not know. They could not call, they could not text. The school had taken away the one communication line that might have connected a 15-year-old girl to her family in the final days of her life. What happened after Jenna's death is, in many ways, as disturbing as the death itself. Not because of one dramatic cover-up, but because of the accumulated weight of silence, deflections, and institutional self-protection that her family encountered from every direction. From the Maldivian authorities, an investigation was opened, but no findings were shared. No official documents were provided to the family. No timeline was given. The resort where the incident occurred withheld information. The boat crew, whose actions are at the center of the question of what went wrong, were not made available to the family. From the school, an internal review was commissioned, but its findings were not shared. The principal confirmed that the school had made repeated requests to the Maldivian authorities for information. He said the school had not received any information or documents from the Maldivian investigation. So, the school said it could not complete its review without the investigation results. And the investigation produced no results it was willing to share with anyone. From the charity, the Maldives Whale Shark Research Program, whose expedition this was technically conducted under, an initial report was submitted to Maldivian police and forms part of the investigation file. But that report has not been shared publicly or with the family. From Singapore's Ministry of Education, they confirm that SJII, as a privately funded school, not part of Singapore's mainstream education system, was not directly governed by MOE policy. They confirm the school had adhered to its overseas trip safety protocols. And on the basis of those two statements, they announced they would not be investigating SJII's handling of the incident. They would not investigate. Now think about what that means. A 15-year-old Singaporean student died on a school-organized trip. The school is based in Singapore. The school sent the child abroad. The child did not come home. And the government body responsible for education in Singapore announced it would not investigate because the school is private. Jenna's father, Alan Chan, used one phrase in interview after interview that stays with you. He said, quote, "If you've done everything correctly, a child should not have died." He is not a reckless man. He is not someone making wild accusations. He is a father who watched authority after authority look at his daughter's death and find a reason why it was not their responsibility to explain it. In March 2025, more than 4 months after his daughter died, Alan Chan flew to the Maldives himself. Not because the authorities invited him, not because the school arranged it, because he had run out of patience with waiting for answers that were not coming, and because there are things a parent cannot stop doing. He went to the place where Jenna died. He sought out the CT scans that had been conducted on his daughter's body at a Maldivian hospital after her death. He used his contacts, his wife is a surgeon, they know radiologists, to obtain those scans. Not without some difficulty, according to reports. And in those scans, he saw for the first time the full extent of what the propeller had done to his 15-year-old daughter. He did not receive significant updates on the investigation from the police. He flew home with the scans and without the answers. In May of 2025, officers from the Maldives Police Service flew to Singapore. They interviewed 4 students and 1 teacher who had been on the trip with Jenna. The school confirmed it had facilitated those interviews. Singapore police force officers were present. The family learned about this through a news report. Not through the police, not through the school, through a news report. Alan Chan's response to learning this way? Quote, "That's news to us." In July of 2025, 8 months after Jenna's death, the Maldives Police Service confirmed publicly for the first time that the case was being formally investigated as a case of negligent death. They confirmed the investigation was ongoing. They confirmed that all developments were being discussed with the Prosecutor General's office to ensure that if negligence was found, appropriate legal action would be taken once the investigation concluded. 8 months. Negligent death. Still no charges. Still no completed investigation. Still no official documents provided to the family. Alan Chan launched a petition demanding regulatory accountability for privately funded schools. The petition calls for mandatory, transparent reporting requirements. He is fighting not just for Jenna now. He is fighting for every child who might get onto a boat and follow the instructions and not come home. Lawyers have been engaged in 3 jurisdictions: Providence Law Asia in Singapore, McHugh Jury and Partners in the United Kingdom, CLA Partners in the Maldives. A cross-jurisdictional review was underway since early 2025. The family's website, justiceforjenna.org, was taken offline while legal proceedings are ongoing. Its final message read, quote, "Jenna will not be forgotten." Alan Chan has referred to what happened on November 8th as a chain of errors. That framing matters because it refuses the idea that this was simply a tragic accident. It insists on the possibility, which the investigation is currently examining, that a sequence of avoidable decisions led to an avoidable death. Now, what does that chain of errors look like based on what is publicly known? The first link, the no phones policy. A group of 15-year-old students is sent to a foreign country for a compulsory school trip. Their parents cannot contact them. This is a policy decision made by the school. If something goes wrong, the parents are the last to know. They cannot call, they cannot check. They are simply not reachable. The second link, the boat procedure. Students lined up to enter the water. A teacher entered first, another student entered second. And at some point, before everyone was clear, the boat moved, or the propeller engaged. Exactly how and why this happened is one of the core questions that the Maldivian investigators need to answer. Was the boat crew following proper snorkeling procedures? Were all students accounted for before the engine was activated? Was there a safety checklist? Was it followed? The third link, the response. When Jenna was struck and another teacher dove in to retrieve her body, the boat crew watched. They did not help. The children, Jenna's classmates who had not come to the Maldives to witness this, helped pull the body on board. The trauma of that moment was carried home by every student who was on that boat. Teenagers who lined up to swim with dolphins and instead watched their classmate die. The fourth link, the information blackout. In the hours and days after the incident, information was withheld. The family was not given a post-mortem examination offer by Maldivian authorities. Witness statements from students and teachers were not shared with the family. The school's legal team conducted its own witness statement collection exercise using a structured questionnaire in the immediate aftermath, a step that raised questions about whether information was being gathered for protection rather than transparency. Alan Chan said clearly he does not call what happened to his daughter an accident. It's negligence, he said. Quote, there was definitely negligence involved. The question in my mind is who and how much? The investigation is still trying to answer that question. Now, this story is connected to something that appears again and again when things go wrong in the Maldives. The Maldives is paradise. The water is blue. The resorts are extraordinary. The marine life is among the most spectacular on Earth. And the country's entire economy depends on maintaining that image. Tourism is not just important in the Maldives. Tourism is everything. The reefs, the atolls, the whale sharks, the dive sites, these are not just beautiful. They are the reason the country survives. Which means that when something goes wrong, when a boat propeller kills a child, when a diver dies in a cave, when a soldier is killed by a shark in waters that were made dangerous by years of illegal feeding, there is enormous pressure to manage the story carefully, to investigate slowly, to share findings reluctantly. The family fighting for answers in Jenna's case is experiencing the same walls that every family encounters when they try to pursue accountability through a system that has a financial interest in not being seen as unsafe. And the jurisdictional vacuum makes it worse. Jenna was a Singapore resident. She was British Singaporean. She died in the Maldives. Singapore's Ministry of Education said it was not their jurisdiction because the school is private. The Maldivian police are investigating but have not concluded. The UK government confirmed consular support but has no direct authority to compel answers. Nobody is in charge. 3 countries have a connection to the case. None of them has primary accountability. And so, the investigation moves slowly. The family waits, and the school, 8 months after Jenna's death, announces it's preparing to resume overseas experiential trips. The school is resuming trips before the investigation into Jenna's death is complete. Her family expressed surprise at that decision. That is perhaps the most careful word they could have chosen. Surprise. Her father does not call it an accident. Her sister called it shocking. She launched a fundraiser to help pay for legal fees in the Maldives, for lawyers who might be able to force answers out of a system that has so far refused to give them. She wrote, quote, there has been silence from the Maldivian government, and all news about her has ceased. The circumstances leading to her sudden death and the negligence of the company are truly shocking to our family and her teenage friends who witnessed her death. Her teenage friends who witnessed her death, who lined up to get into the water and swim with dolphins, and instead watched something happen that no 15-year-old should ever see. They came home from the Maldives with trauma instead of photographs. Jenna Chan wanted to be a doctor. She wanted to care for elderly people. She wanted to be the kind of person who stayed when others left, who helped when others watched. Her father said she was sunshine. Her mother is a surgeon who knows exactly what the CT scans mean and has to live with that knowledge every day. They went to the Maldives themselves. They obtained the scans. They hired the lawyers. They launched the petition. They kept her name in the news when the news had moved on. They built a website, and when the legal proceedings required them to take it offline, they left one message visible: Jenna will not be forgotten. The Maldives investigation is ongoing. No charges have been filed. No official cause of death has been released publicly. The boat crew have not been publicly named. The tour operator involved has not been publicly named. The school is resuming trips. And a family in Singapore is still waiting for answers about the morning that their 15-year-old daughter followed the instructions that she was given, got into the water, and didn't come back. She went to swim with dolphins. That was the plan.